BKRsport, we are back for another season of NRL 2022, and today we are getting back into the positional rankings of all the different players in all the different positions. Obviously, we have a whole video dedicated to each individual position, and today we're going to be doing locks. Now, this is always one that I really enjoy in regards to the entire series. I really enjoy this series because not only does it get you guys chatting away in the comment section, you know, we get a bit of a healthy debate discussion going on here. Obviously, I'm not here by myself. I do also have an entertainer. How we doing, big fella?
There you go, mate. Good to be reunited. Hope you're doing well in Fiji.
Reunited, mate. Too bad the Titans are going to overtake the Parramatta Eels this year, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to realise out in sport that, you couldn't get the job done, so maybe we can get the job done next, eh?
Nah, I don't reckon. I reckon Parramatta will have a good year. It's our year, mate.
I thought I saw on the messages the other day that you were saying they might miss the 8.
No.
Yeah, changing the tune. But no, that's all right. We're obviously going to be doing locks here today, guys, which is the number 13 position. A lot of people don't actually know a lot of this specific position. People just kind of assume they're second row, which is just absolutely blatantly not true. Number 13 is a very integral position to a team. Guys who can just solidly create a foundation for the team, really hard worker, a lot of tackles get made, and sometimes can actually be a bit of a ball player too, man, which is good to see from the forwards. Like, obviously, your second, really, then again, the forwards have become a lot more of a ball playing position nowadays. Maybe not so much the front rowers, but the second rowers and locks definitely have been passing the ball a lot more and getting a lot more done on the other end, except for a couple players we can see here. But as you guys know, obviously we go through elite quality to the job, not that great and unproven. We have to have someone in every single position. What are you thinking about this position here? Obviously you chose to do locks, man. You said you were pretty good at locks. What do you think about the lock position?
I think it's a fantastic, and you mentioned an integral position. You mentioned that a lot of players start to have that ball playing ability, and there's a few players here who are in this list who are either fairly new to lock position or yet to kind of play lock. But I think when I think of them, part of their game is going to be that ball playing. But we've got some great locks in our game. I can't wait to get into it.
I just realised, I think we did locks last year too, didn't we?
I remember I did wingers with you.
I think you did centres. I think you did centres last year.
Centres, because we had the Joey Lewis situation. That's right.
Joey Lewis situation. Yep. An ex-Dally Centre of the Year award to Joey Lewis there. Also, won his boxing fight. But obviously, I actually think we did do locks last year. So because I remember we spoke about Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, and you wanted to put him in elite, and I put him in the top end of quality. That's what I believe we had that conversation.
Yep.
So, we're getting back. So, that's good. We're the two same people doing the exact same one, so we can move it and groove it based on what we saw throughout the year. Obviously, guys, you guys can have a different opinion in the comment section. So, go down there in the comment section and let us know who you would put and where. You may have a divisive opinion. If you are watching this in 2023, we filmed this a goddamn year ago, so I'm going to tell you guys on every single video. I get people even now commenting on last year's video saying, you guys are crazy, man. You guys are crazy, as if you could have put him there and him there. It's like, listen, man, you've got a whole further season to watch than we did at the time. So if you're watching this in 2023, firstly, subscribe, because you should anyway. You should have been here in 2022. Secondly, just understand, we're doing this before the 2022 season. So I reckon we should get into it here. Actually, before we do, where can everyone find you, man? And obviously, what do you do in the NRL, man?
Yeah, guys, during the NRL season, I do some game day vlogs. Recently uploaded the top 10 vlogs I've done in my 4 years of YouTube. So check me out on the Entertain House YouTube channel over on YouTube, on Instagram at the Entertain House, and on TikTok, Entertain YT. Ton of fun videos over there on TikTok.
Dear me, TikTok, eh? Dear me, the old TikTok. Obviously, we've done a couple of vlogs together. You still haven't seen an extra time, though, unfortunately. You still have
no golden point. Time. It's become a running gag now.
Yeah, well, you got close with the Warriors and Manly last year, I think it was. Warriors and Manly.
Warriors and Manly was the field goal with a few minutes or something to go, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the seconds. I think it was literal seconds there to go. But anyway, let's get into this one here, guys. Obviously, we're going to go through every single team. And also, there are a couple of players that there's not guaranteed that they're the 13 or not yet. So we've actually thrown in multiple guys that have been put up for the spot. If there's a clear and out 13, then they'll just be there by themselves. But if there's currently like a dubious decision making to be done by a team, we're going to have multiple guys there. But first up here, we do have Elliott. Now, it does obviously show here that he plays for the Bulldogs, but he's not at the Bulldogs anymore. He is at the Canberra Raiders. What do you think of the big old Elliott?
Look, we're talking about people as a player here and not as a person. So as a person, I would have said that Adam Elliott is a quality person. But as a player, he's had a while to prove himself. The Bulldogs haven't done much in regards to playing finals footy. He's been consistent, but still not that great. It's between do the job and not that great for me. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to chuck Adam Elliott in the not that great category. Yeah, I do look forward to whether his career can change in the way that he plays at the Raiders, but I just don't know.
I don't even believe he's actually locked in with the Raiders squad. I think we've got Tapine and whatnot here as well that potentially could be there. So, look, I would definitely put him in not that great. I do obviously encourage players out there, if you do watch this, I know some players do watch these, to understand that we're not having a go at you personally. We know that by you being in the NRL, even if you're the worst player in the NRL, you're still a very, very good player overall because you've made the professional league. But you've got to understand that we're putting you in not that great. We're comparing you with literally everybody else right now in the top division of rugby league. And unfortunately, you just haven't got it done yet. The key word is yet. Obviously, Adam Elliott, maybe he might have a change of scenery here at Canberra. Maybe it might work out for him compared to Bulldogs, who have been a massive struggle. But the Raiders as well, they're not exactly in the greatest situation. They were predicted for a potential top 4 team last year. I didn't predict that. I had them lower. Everyone said I was crazy. Well, guess what? It wasn't crazy. Then obviously they missed the 8. And obviously the Bulldogs came last. So it's not like he's going into a fantastic situation here for himself. So yeah, I'm going to put him in not that great. Hopefully the change of scenery can put him into, I think his ceiling is to the job. I could never see him being quality and don't even start in our league. Would you disagree with any of that?
No, absolutely. I think that he can be in that do the job category by the end of his career, but he's had a few years now to prove himself.
I feel like a lot of locks are going to be like a do the job kind of area though, because it's not like, obviously you need to be exceptional to be called elite when it comes to a lock. It's kind of a, as much as an integral position it is, I don't really see there being a complete. The ceiling is still relative to, for example, the ceiling of a 5'8" or a halfback or a hooker or a fullback, and even to an extent the back line and whatnot, and second rows. Honestly, I think that's why people don't really look at locks too much, because of the fact that there is just the ceiling you don't necessarily get to see as high of a product as compared to a lot of other guys. But then again, that's just what my opinion. Next up here, we'll move on to Alex Twal from the Tigers. I don't believe he still has ever gotten a try to his name.
You're correct on that one. It's another running gag. Alex Twal not scoring a try. I'd actually put Alex Twal above Adam Elliott. Once again, I kind of want to put him between that, not that great, and do the job. But you know what? I'm actually going to put him in do the job. I think the Tigers are a team that have really struggled for a while now, and we've seen that. But I think in regards to the consistency and the aggression that he brings to the game, you don't see him quick play the balls and things, but he still does get involved in some integral ways. So I'm actually going to put him in do the job, surprisingly, for this one.
I think the reason why you're saying do the job now is because you haven't seen anybody else being put in to do the job just yet. So you don't really have anybody to compare him with. I can look at names here that we're about to bring up and do the job. And I can tell you right now, look, Alex Twal, very hard run of the ball. That's what you expect with a lock. But in the same sense, I'd put him above Adam Elliott in not that great. Look, I think he gets the job done to an extent, but I just don't think he should be in the same category as a couple of these other guys that will come through here. And I think you'll understand a lot more about what I'm saying when we start moving through it a little bit. Like, we can put him into the job for now, but I guarantee you by the end of it, he'll be down.
No, I'm happy to put him above Adam Elliott in that side of not that great. I had it between the two. I didn't know where your opinion would be, but I think, above Adam Elliott in regards to not that great is a good spot for him.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, you don't have to kind of, at the beginning, you just kind of throw your opinion out there, and then I'll give you mine in response to that, and then we can kind of meet in the middle kind of thing. You don't need to think about kind of what I'm going to you don't need to think about what I'm going to do, because we'll figure out a balance in the end. But yeah, I think top end is not that great. And I think that I probably actually think that Adam Elliott has a better ceiling than Alex Twal, but in the same sense, they're just there kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully they can improve. But next up here, we do have Brandon Smith, the old nuggety Brandon Smith from the Melbourne Storm. Where would you put him in regards to locks? Because obviously he played a lot of hooker, plays a lot of the number 14 role. There's even talk that even Buddy Nelson Solomona was trying to get to that number 13 spot at one stage. Where would you put Brandon Smith?
Well, it's interesting. As a player in the NRL, and you mentioned his position of hooker, he's definitely quality, but I don't know if you can put Brandon Smith in the unproven category. I think at lock, he is unproven.
No, he's played too much unproven.
very limited games at lock and will probably be the lock moving forward with Dale Finucane obviously leaving the club. But overall, he's a quality player. So I don't know where to put him here. I think he's better than do the job, but whether he's going to be as good as he is as a hooker, as a lock, I just don't know. So,
yeah, look, I think I would put him in. I would put him as a lock, man. I truly would consider putting him. This is a controversial one as upper end to do the job, but I think that by the end of this, he might bump his way up to lower end of quality. I think just the name, and this is the thing that people aren't going to understand with these team makers as well, is a lot of players have actually changed positions. We found this with Valentine Holmes, who was normally a fullback and a winger, and has gone to a centre. And centre he's not good in my personal opinion. That's what you've seen in these rankings. We ranked him pretty poorly compared to if he was a winger, we would give him as a top tier status, or maybe not elite. Maybe 5 years ago we would have given Valentine Holmes elite. Or if we go and look at fullback, we would have given him probably like a do the job to quality area. But in regards to centre, he's not that great. So I'm really thinking that in regards to Brand Smith, I'd still be happy to put him lower end of quality and minimum upper end for the job. But what would you put him?
I think do the job. I think like in his key position of hooker, he's quality. But right now as a lock, he'd probably do the job. Probably a lower end at the moment, but we'll have to see who else comes into that category.
You would have him as lower end of the job?
As a lock position, I think so. We still haven't seen enough from him at lock.
Okay, we'll come back to this one at the end, and based on the players that do come through, then we'll decide whether he's lower or top end. But I feel like people are going to slap you for calling him bottom end to do the job. But I definitely agree with do the job to an extent. I just think that he has that ability to go quality. But next up here, we do have Cameron McInnes from. It says the Dragons, but obviously he's the Sharks now. Tough one with Cameron McInnes because he was arguably elite when he was there in 2020, 2019, when he was absolutely killing it for the Dragons. Had that ACL tear last year that absolutely destroyed him, and then now he's at the Sharks with a whole different team. A team that really has to gel together as well. Craig Fitzgibbon, new coach there as well. I would definitely. The thing that worries me, man, I've got him in quality, and the thing is, he'll be the only one in quality right now. But I do worry where I'm going to put him in quality because I did have this same complaint with Luke Keary. That Keary was unbelievable for, and I just don't trust players coming back from ACLs. I got hurt with Kevin Gordon, and I'm nervous for McInnes, especially in such a key position in the number 9 role there. So I'm happy to put him in quality. Where would you put him?
I'm going to put him in quality as well. You mentioned his 2019-2020 season, obviously missing last season. He was always consistently in the top 3 players for tackles made. I obviously collect NRL cards, and he's always up there in regards to the top 3 at the end of the year who made the most tackles. These certain cards that you can collect. And for that reason, that's what a lock should be doing the job, making those tackles in the middle, getting down and dirty. And that's what Cameron McInnes does. Again, you mentioned that locks and their quick play the ball ability. Cameron McInnes was doing those Cameron Murray type of things. So I think we'll wait and see again who comes into that category, but I'd say he's a mid to high tier quality, not a low end.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him low end. The only reason that I would even consider that is because of the ACL, and I can't back in and guarantee anything. But I would probably put him in middle just because I am hesitant. Always ACL injuries in no matter the sport. I'm always hesitant regardless. So I think Cameron McInnes can be good. Obviously, the Sharks have always been known for a very free-flowing, fast-paced kind of style. It's different when you say that because the Bulldogs haven't been known for that for ages. They've always been known as a defensive team, not recently, but still, you get your Storm for very structured and whatnot. You get your all these different teams that play different styles as a consistent basis over their entire history. And with the Sharks, they're a very fast-paced team that really like their back. So I think McInnes could be really good there. But at the same sense, I'm waiting to see it this year first. He's quality. He has a potential to be elite, but we'll see how he goes here. So we're talking quality. Next up here, we move on to Cameron Murray. Very good player from the Rabbitohs. What are your thoughts?
He's consistent. He's been picked in Origins. He's been picked in the Kangaroos. He's played in an NRL Grand Final, and I think this is the first player that I can put in elite. I think as his game's gone on, he's just got better and better, and I kind of worried as the years go on if he could continue to carry that form, but he's just so talented, very talented Rabbitohs player. So for me, I don't know whether it'd be low or mid, but I think he'd be one of the top 5 in the game. So going to keep him in that elite section for Cameron Murray.
I would argue, yeah, well, there's actually there is probably going to be 5, maybe 4 or 5 elite here, maybe 3 or 4 elite. I'm not sure, but there is still a few elite here to come. There is actually still quite a bit of talent. So yeah, I'd put Cameron Murray in elite, obviously. I don't think you could even argue anything less, to be completely fair. He is definitely one of the top players in the game and always gets his job done, and is one of the best players in one of the best teams in the Rabbitohs. Don't know how they'll go this year with no Bennett, with no Reynolds, and a lot of Dane Gagai obviously leaving as well. The Rabbitohs have a bit of an exodus. So it'll be interesting to see how the forwards go, because the forwards are ones usually have to look out for to really hold down the fort when there's a lot of incoming changes and transitional phases. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Cameron Murray goes, but I'm happy to go with the first man in elite. Next up here, one of my favourite players, and is still underrated, Isaah Yeo. What are your thoughts on him?
Absolutely elite. Again, like Cameron Murray, consistently picked in Origins, plays in an NRL Grand Final. I think he was a player who, and he's definitely still underrated, but I think more people are starting to notice what he does for the game now. And the Penrith Panthers probably winning the premiership and the workload that he's done. He is someone who can probably lead this team as a captain eventually if he does continue to stay with the club. And I think he's definitely an elite player.
Are you putting him above Murray or below Murray?
I think I'd have to put him above Murray purely because of the premiership.
I would personally, individually speaking, I would personally put Yeo below Murray, just because I feel like there's a lot more. And I'm always, and I say this on all these videos, is that I'm always about the energy that a player brings. And although Yeo has more experience, I guess, and has more of that kind of leadership ability, I would say, I would personally give Murray, if I had to draft these two right now and I had to choose if I want Cameron Murray or if I want Isaah Yeo, first pick, and I have to take a lock, I'm personally, out of these two guys, I would take Cameron Murray.
Okay. I'm gonna keep it as my opinion of Yeo over Murray. I guess I can understand in that sense of the teamwork, but I think that leadership and that I know that Cameron Murray probably does a lot more in the middle, but I just think the running hard of Yeo, and he scores more tries too. You see Yeo score tries quite a bit now as well.
To be fair, I think he does. Does Cameron Murray not score tries? He scored a couple here and there, doesn't he?
Here and there he does, but Yeo has actually scored quite a few.
I feel like Yeo probably assists more as well. Actually, I'm pretty happy to put him above Murray, but it's very 50-50. Honestly, everyone watching right now, you could have either of these guys above each other. It doesn't really matter a great deal. They're both in the league, but I think I'll agree with you and put Yeo above Murray, and I think he'll have probably a better year based on the fact that Rabbitohs are in a transitional phase. So that I think he probably, I feel like I've just clicked in my head that he's really good with the inside ball for the break, but he really finds nicely compared to Cameron Murray. And that's not a negative on Cameron Murray. I just really like what Yeo brings. So yeah, we'll put him above Murray for there. Next up here, we'll go to Jack Bird. Now, the reason why this is a confusing one is because Jack Bird not only plays as a centre, has played in fullback at stages, and I would personally, in regards to lock, I can't see many being unproven here, so I think he might be the only one that you'd probably chuck in unproven. Because the thing is that you don't usually want to, like, for example, Brandon Smith, we're still seeing enough of him in the lock position. We're still seeing enough. But with Jack Bird, his whole career, he's pretty much just been a centre. And was one of the best centres in the game 5 years ago. So I would argue that Jack Bird should be unproven for lock. And that's because the centre and lock position is so polar opposite difference that you can't really tell anything.
Yeah, he's played quite a bit of second rower last year, but no lock at all. And I think that Jack de Belin will probably be the lock for 2022 for the Dragons, with him coming back into the side. But if it turns out to be Jack Bird, then I think you can definitely chuck him in unproven.
Well, yeah, a lot of people have. Well, I think Clarkey had Jack de Belin in front row. I think that a couple of the other places that I was looking at here, on this other website, the Dragons, they have de Belin in. They had de Belin in the 13, and then for the other one here that I was checking out, sportingnews.com, they had. Where is it? Oh, gee whiz, everything's going slow here. Can't find it. There we go. They had Jack Bird in the 13 as well, with de Belin in the front row. So yeah,
okay.
It's interesting. I'm not too sure. What will go on, but in the same sense, yeah, I'd personally put him on unproven. But then again, you said he played a lot of second row last year. I couldn't remember that. I didn't even click that he played second row last year. Was he any good?
Yeah, he's pretty good. He was playing in the number 12 jersey quite a bit.
Okay. Well, look, I don't think that anybody here really is less. Oh, maybe there might be actually one more here that we might chuck in there. So do you want to put Jack Bird in somewhere, or do you want to put him on Unproven?
Unproven. I'm happy with that.
Next up, let's move into Jack Belin, his Dragons castmate there. What are you thinking of JDB?
Well, Jack de Belin spent a lot of time on the sidelines, and he's back in the NRL now, and I think he looked quite good. Still not fantastic, and he played either off the bench or moving into that lock position for the late end of the Dragons season, which was great at the start without him, and then a struggle. But in no way or form it was Jack's fault. It was the old barbecue incident that killed the Dragons season. But I actually think
old barbecue incident, that's unreal, yeah.
I actually think I'd put him in do the job, but I would put him below Brandon Smith, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'd put him into the job below Brandon Smith. He actually has played New South Wales rep before, I believe, yes? Like 6 years ago, a while ago.
Quite a while ago. Yeah, I think he's still in the Rugby League live game, actually.
Oh, true. Well, there you go. Yeah, so he played some rep. I think that obviously circumstances that we're not going to refer to have massively impacted his career as a whole, and I don't believe he has the ceiling as high as it was originally going to be. I would definitely take Brand Smith over to Belin, and that's how I think about this, especially with the fact that I do a lot of American sports too. I'm always thinking about draft stock and what it would be like if we were drafting a certain player over the other. And that's why you see this draft series that's currently going on the channel. But I would personally take Brand Smith over to Belin, and I think that Belin's definitely above, not that great. So he's did the job, man. He gets it done. And he's still pretty good, man. He's not quality with Cameron McInnes, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to the Manly She-Eagles, and it's got to be Jakey Trbojevic, not Tommy. We've got Jakey Trbojevic here, and I feel like his stock has actually lowered quite a lot recently, to be honest with you, in recent years. Obviously, he used to be absolutely undeniably in elite, but do you still have him in that elite category? Because I personally don't.
I've got him just below elite. I've got him in quality just higher than Cameron McInnes.
Absolutely,
I think they're very, very close in regards to that category. Very good representative player, plays for the Blue, plays for the Kangaroos, consistently selected. Wouldn't say he's fast in regards to that ball playing ability, but definitely always makes tackles and hardly misses them. So very consistent player. But like you said, I think his stock and worth has probably dropped off a while. And some of that's probably due to the game getting faster. And I think he's not that fast of a person when he does run. He runs it hard, but he just doesn't run it fast,
That's why it's so impressive to see Isaah Yeo do what he does, man, because obviously he's not exactly a fast bloke, but yet he's still got a bit more pace to him and has a bit more, energy to him. So, they're not their body shapes and body sizes are so different, but in the context of the pace of the game, it's interesting to see that Isaah Yeo can still be as quality as he is, and Jack Boyd has gone down. I'd put him in higher in quality. I definitely put him above Cameron McInnes. I think that he's very close to being an elite, but it's just regressed because of the style of the game nowadays and how fast-paced it is in comparison. And obviously, in the business, he's the best in the business for the old thumbs up. He's the best in the business for the old thumbs up. So he's definitely got to be in the quality area. Now, we've got another one here that is debatable, maybe. I don't know. It's a tough one. Jason Taumalolo from the Cowboys. Are you still willing to put him in elite as well?
I'm going to put Jason Taumalolo in elite. I'm going to put him between Isaah Yeo and Cameron Murray. I think he's slightly above Cameron Murray. I think by the end of Cameron Murray's career, he'll probably overtake him, especially what he brings to the game. But right now, I think that Isaah Yeo, I've mentioned, is one of the best locks in the game. And I think Jason Taumalolo, he spent quite a bit of time on the sidelines, but still scored some tries, made some tackles, some big runs as well. He's a running lock. He runs so much during the game. But I think I'm going to put him in the middle between those two. Are you going to put him below?
I would put him below Cameron Murray.
Below Cameron Murray?
And that's not me. Yeah, I'd put him below Cameron Murray. And that's not me kind of hounding on him a lot. I just think that's due to the fact that he's not playing as much as he probably should be, and that, unfortunately, I disagree with a few decisions that Toddy Payton has done with the Cowboys. I think that, individually speaking, he was obviously the best lock in the game by a long way. Even up until last year, 2 years ago, he was clearly the number one, and now, maybe Jake Trbojevic was probably second to him, realistically, with 2 years ago. And Victor Radley was up there too. But overall, I think that I would personally take Murray and Yeo just because Taumalolo seems like he doesn't necessarily have the ability to go for the full 80. With Yeo and Murray, I would back them in to play for the full 80. And like I said, I think that thought process comes from the fact that Todd Payten doesn't play him for as long as he probably should and plays him for such limited minutes. And I don't think that what Todd Payten's trying to do in regards, it is Todd Payten the Cowboys, yeah?
Yeah, Todd Payten.
Yeah, Todd Payten the Cowboys. Yeah, it's. I don't think what he's planned to do has worked out, and I think that he's thinking too much about the future, which is great. I get you want to limit him so that he doesn't burn himself out, but in the same sense, you're also limiting his career because of you doing that. And I just don't think that the spurts that you're getting from him are as good as what they get when he can really kind of motor into a game. I don't think he's that same type of explosive forward in the sense of a David Fafita, where you can bring him in for 20 minutes and he's going to absolutely crush you. I think Taumalolo was more of a grinder as well. Would you disagree with anything of what I've said?
No, I think you've summed it pretty well.
Yeah. So are you happy for it to go under Murray, or do you want him to go above Murray?
No, I think he can go under Murray. I think that those coaching decisions from Payten have probably not ruined his career as such, but definitely made him degress. So, yeah, I think I would put him under the more.
Alrighty. Well, back to the Canberra Raiders here. And for some reason, I've got Joe Tapine here, but I'm pretty certain it is Joe Tapine for the Raiders. I think you actually had a lot to say about him last year. What are your thoughts? Are they different to last year?
I think they are different to last year. I think I was putting him between high end of do the job into low end of quality, but I just don't know anymore.
I think you put him in quality.
I think I did from memory, yeah. And I don't know. I don't think I can do it again this year. I definitely think he's above Adam Elliott and Alex Twal. I think I'll put him between Brandon Smith and Jack de Belin in do the job. I think Brandon Smith's probably better than him. Brandon Smith had an exceptional season. Whether he's going to retain that position, I'm not too sure. There's a few players kind of knocking on the door at the Raiders, so it's an interesting one.
I've got him in the exact same position as you. That's why I nodded my head. I think that, honestly, man, I don't believe Brandon Smith will move the entire game for the rest of this teammate go. I don't think that he can be moved by the guys that I can see coming here. So pretty much he's going to be just locked in as that number one. But I would probably put him above de Belin. Yeah, I think that he still brings enough to the game that does help out the Raiders in aspects, but obviously isn't exactly fantastic. But he does do the job, and that's why it kind of frustrates me in a bit. And I'm not disagreeing with Brandon Smith being there, but there is such a polar difference between Brandon Smith and Tapine. You know what I'm saying? I think there is. To be fair, there is just as much difference between McInnes and Brandon Smith in the number 13 for the time being, anyway. So yeah, it's a tough one. Brandon Smith probably deserves to be on his own tier right in between it. But yeah, we'll chuck him into to do the job there. Next up here is Josh Jackson for the Dogs. And I think came in last year and said that I had very high backing for Jackson. I think he's a tough player, good leader. But my stocks on him have lowered too. I don't think, and I guess that is part and parcel with the Bulldogs being as bad as they were last year. But I just didn't see really, it's all well and good to be tough, gritty, and a leader, but I just didn't see enough from him. And I think that does, like I said, it comes through with the Dogs. But it is what it is. You play the Dogs, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I would personally put him in do the job.
I think the low end of do the job. I think Brandon Smith at the start and Josh Jackson at the bottom behind Jack de Belin, in my opinion. I think you mentioned his leadership. He brings a lot, but I don't know if he's carrying his workload. I don't know.
I didn't really see anything from him last year. I had such high raps on him going into 2021, and just nothing really happened. So, yeah, we'll put him on the low end of the job below de Belin. I believe he still has a ceiling of being high end of the job. I don't believe he could ever be in quality. I don't think his ceiling is quality, but I always think that his ceiling is up there with, below Brandon Smith. So he can only go really 2 spots, but still, yeah, I think I need to see a lot more from him this year, especially with the team they have. But then again, I don't believe the Dogs anywhere near as much as other people do. And that's long-term rather than short-term. I'm talking just in general. I don't necessarily believe the Dogs. But this is not a pre-season prediction. That'll come out 1 week before the NRL season. Get keen for that. Next up here, let's move on to Mitch Barnett. I'm actually a bit of a fan of Mitch Barnett. I don't think he's anything like a leader. And I wouldn't even put him in quality, but I'd definitely put him upper end to the job.
Yeah, I'm actually going to put him... I don't know if I put him between Tapine and de Belin or if I put him between Brandon Smith and Tapine. But like you, I think he's a very underrated player. I think he's probably better than the Newcastle Knights. I think he'd be better at another team under another coach. I just don't think he fits in too much at Newcastle, but he's a very aggressive player, very good player.
I think he kicks as well and gets a few tries.
Yeah. Would you put him between Tapine and Belin?
I'd put him between Brandon Smith and Tapine. I've personally got Mitch Barnett as a really bang-for-your-buck kind of player that can get the job done, has the kicking tee, has the ability to score a try, is really good outside. And I just love watching Mitchy Barnett play for a guy that is, honestly, when you look at him, he just looks like a real basic forward. And that's not me trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. He just looks like a basic forward when you take a look at him compared to the likes of the Cameron Murray or Taumalolo or those kind of guys. But he just does so much for, I guess, being as underrated as he is now. Like I said, not quality, but I definitely have him below Brandon Smith, upper end of to the job. Yep,
I'll agree with you there.
Alrighty, another one here that I came in quite high into 2021 is actually your boy, Nathan Brown from the Parramatta Eels. What are your thoughts on Nathan Brown? And then I'll give you mine.
Well, I think Nathan Brown had a pretty quiet season in 2021. I think
Absolutely.
Most of our other forwards really stood up in our new buy, Isaah Yeo. And then Ryan Madison was fairly good as well, Junior Paulo. So I think that really shone away from Nathan Brown. I don't think you can put him in not that great. I think he's done a lot. I mentioned last year the issue in regards to penalties that he gives away and discipline, but I think he cut that out of his game in 2021, which was great to see. I'm going to put him in the low end of do the job between Josh Jackson and Jack de Belin for mine.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we had him in quality last year or maybe upper end of the job because of the fact that you mentioned the penalties and then we brought him down. But yeah, I would put him and think that he's actually relatively detracted in the same sense of Josh Jackson from the fact that one, it's a fast-paced game. These two guys probably are really good locks from maybe like 10 years ago, really, or even 5 to 10 years ago, when the game was a lot different to now. Like a Nathan Brown or a Josh Jackson could have really helped out the Sharks kind of team in 2016. Not really, because obviously they won the premiership, but that kind of style is what that would have suited that kind of team. Nowadays, he's completely different to what happened in that 2016 grand final, unfortunately, in my personal opinion, unfortunately. So yeah, I put Nathan Brown underneath de Belin and alongside Josh Jackson, but honestly, you could put them both together. I think they're very similar of a player. I think they're very similar of a player, Josh Jackson, Nathan Brown. You can't really separate them greatly. Would you disagree?
No, I think you've got a pretty good point there.
Alrighty, so we've got 5 more to go here, and the next one here is going to be from the Brisbane Broncos, Patrick Carrigan. One player that not many people would know a great deal about. Obviously, as a team that has been struggling for years now, there is bigger raps on him from other people. Maybe other people believe in him more. I've probably got him at the top end and not that great. I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to put him in the top end of not that great, but I think it's worth noting that he spent quite a bit of time on the sidelines due to injury. But it wasn't his first season as well. He's not exactly a rookie nowadays. I still think he's a good player. And we mentioned that if we say a player's not that great, there's still a reason they're in the NRL. And I think that's the argument you can make against Patrick Carrigan here. I'd put him above Alex Twal in that not that great section.
I think that with the Broncos, they've been so bad for so long now, a couple of years now, which is so long in his career because he hasn't been around for a great deal. But he's not able to really be special and shine out. But in the same sense, he's still seeing guys like Tony Staggs have good games and whatnot. You still have seen Payne Haas lead the line in front row forwards. So I guess if he can do that, if they can do that, then I guess he can do that. But he hasn't done that yet. So for me, I've got him not that great. I guess he probably has a lot more potential ceiling-wise than Nathan Brown, Josh Jackson, even de Belin, in my opinion. You could probably be looking more towards the Tapine area. But in the same sense, for now, based on what we've seen so far, in my personal opinion, I've got him top end not that great. Do you agree?
Yep.
Alrighty. So 4 to go here, and the next one is going to be Ryan Sutton. What are your thoughts on Ryan Sutton then?
I think I'd probably rate Joe Tapine in that position over Ryan Sutton. I think he's kind of like Patrick Carrigan in that sense where he pops up and has a good game, but probably not that great.
I would personally put him below Alex Twal.
Yeah, I'm going to put him below Alex Twal in between Adam Elliott.
Above Adam Elliott, yeah. Yeah, I just don't think there's much there. Like, it's like, cool, mate. Like, it is what it is with him. If you get the spot, then congratulations, and maybe you might be able to get a bit of energy coming off the bench. But for me, I don't even know what it is. But I guess Alex Twal is at least a little bit more. I don't know. I don't even know why, but he's not that great. Put it that way, he's not that great. And Alex Twal at least is a bit consistent in regards to what he's doing there. Next up here, and has a locked-on spot at the Tigers too, which should be beneficial considering that Sutton probably won't even get that spot over Tapine. Now, next one is my boy, Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. What are your thoughts? Because I obviously can tell you all day about how the Titans are the greatest team since planet Earth, but you also actually rated him higher than I rated him last year.
I absolutely love Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, and I love what he did at the Melbourne Storm. I think he was very different coming off the bench as that interchange player compared to being a starting 13 player. I think he's been great at the Titans for his first season, but a little bit below expectations for me. I still think going into this season, I'm looking forward to seeing him and what he does for the lock position, but I'm going to put him between Brandon Smith and Mitchell Barnett in the
Holy shit,
section.
you are drunk. Holy shit, you've just dropped him to do the job between Brandon Smith and Mitch Barnett.
I don't think he's better than Cameron McInnes or Jake.
Bro,
Trbojevic.
I was going to say that I can't see him alongside. I'm the one who rated him lower than you last year. And then this year, I was like, I can't see him alongside Trbojevic and McInnes. And I would have put him below Taumalolo.
I think if we're going off their career and then their position in that career, but isn't it we're going off going into
we're going off whatever we want to go off. You know, if you think that he can become good this year, then that's great. Because I remember he was very good for the Titans last year. Obviously, the Titans were inconsistent in periods, as they always are, and always more than likely will be. Tino Fa'asuamaleaui was always one of the guys that was getting the job done. He didn't score as many tries as he was at the Melbourne Storm, which is what most people look at. But I think that what Tino Fa'asuamaleaui brings to the game for the Gold Coast Titans is, firstly, for such a young bloke building through the team, I believe that he could potentially be a captain of the team one day. And I think he's an absolutely unbelievable player. If you don't want to put him in elite, there's no way I'm letting him go down and do the job. No way.
No, we can go in quality. Would you go lower than Cameron McInnes, or would you go between Cameron McInnes and Jake Trbojevic?
well, I want to put him in fourth in elite, so we'll put him in between Trbojevic and McInnes, if that's what we'll bring him down to that. I can't believe the complete switcheroo there. I can't believe you've gone so far off him. Like, that's crazy. But it is what it is. You know, everyone has their different opinions. I think that Tino Fa'asuamaleaui is much faster than Trbojevic in a lot of aspects too. But then again, you know, Jake has got a lot more experience there. So I don't know. I think that's probably where we had him last year. Actually, this is actually probably exactly where we had him last year, because you wanted elite.
Very similar, yeah.
I wanted quality, and I think we brought it down to quality. And then now I wanted elite, and you want to do the job. Do the job. You shut up. You shut up, Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, and do the job, Muppet. You bloody Muppet. That's all right. But alrighty, we've got two more spots here, and we've got now. I want to preface this by saying that Tohu Harris is actually out for half the season. I didn't even realise this, so I haven't got the guy who would be starting for them. I'm not too sure who would be starting for them in regards to the lock position while he's out. But Tohu Harris obviously will be the number 13 when he's fit and healthy. I feel like he's extremely underrated, but in the same sense, it's difficult to place him.
I think he's good as a front rower. He's moving into that lock position with Adam Blair's retirement, and we saw the Warriors struggle that season. So if we're going off him as a person, in regards to
Tohu Harris is mainly a lock, though.
He spent a bit of time in the front row as well. He was playing in the
probably,
but
I know he's definitely played a lot in the lock.
I think he's got to be and do the job. I think he's much better than not that great. I would probably put Tohu Harris between Joe Tapine and Mitch Barnett.
I'd be putting him above Mitch Barnett and between him and Brandon Smith. Tohu Harris, he makes a lot of tackles, man. He is a really good forward, underrated forward. He gets some good offloads going. Obviously has struggled with the Warriors, because the Warriors are the Warriors and always struggle because they are just in a situation, whether it be, you know, they've been away for ages now, you know. We've got to stop really giving them that excuse. I know it sucks, but in the same sense, it's been 3 years now. This is the third year going into it. So we've got to stop giving them an excuse of the fact that they're not at home. But in the same sense, you do have to take it into account as well. I would personally put him below Brandon Smith and Barnett, and I think that honestly he's still underrated, but I can't put him above Brandon Smith personally.
All right, I'll move him over there.
Alrighty. So we've got one last player here, and that is the Victor the Inflictor, Radley, the big fella. What are your thoughts?
Well, Victor's just an unforgettable player. I think he's fantastic. The thing about Victor is it's getting worse in regards to his discipline, being
Absolutely.
like that Nathan Brown, giving away penalties, which it becomes a liability. But at the same time, I think I'm definitely going to have to put him in elite. I don't think his career has regressed as a lock. However, I think it's going to be at a low end. I always had this argument about who was better. I didn't chuck Yeo into the equation between Radley and Cameron Murray. I'm going to put Radley between Murray and Jason Taumalolo at that lower end of elite.
I was going to put Victor Radley in between Tino and McInnes.
Okay.
And the reason being is because I think the game's gone away from him. I don't think the game is like it was 2 years ago when he was one of the best and the most elite in the business. I think that, he's still a quality player, still a great player. And quality, even with McInnes being the lowest there, shows how great these players are. I personally think that Victor Radley, he's got a lot of suspension in him. He's got a lot of discipline issues and is fantastic. But the game is just not the same game that it was when he was absolutely when he was Victor the Inflictor. Now it's a lot. He doesn't have the same ability and unfortunately can cost his team at times. So that's why I think that with Nathan Brown last year, we wanted to put him in quality, and those suspensions brought him down. I think that he would have been brought down from elite to quality simply because of that. And I think I'd personally put him below Tino Fa'asuamaleaui because I had Tino in the lead, but I would put him in between Fa'asuamaleaui and McInnes. And I think Trbojevic has too much experience and I guess consistency in the fact that he's not going to get suspended. He's a great player. He's not going to get suspended. So I would personally put him in between Fa'asuamaleaui and McInnes.
All right, I'll agree with you.
You're going to agree with it?
I think you've made that point, especially in regards to the way the game has changed and things like that as well. So,
well, if this was 2 years ago, man, I'd be saying straight up, if it was maybe 3 years ago, 2019, when they won the comp, I would say that honestly, I would probably put him as Jason Taumalolo at the time was number one, but I probably would have put Victor Radley number 2 and Jake Taumalolo number 3, or Jake Taumalolo 2 and Victor Radley 3. But they would have been the 3 guys up there that you'd be looking at most and thinking, okay, these are our guys, pretty clearly there, because that was before Fa'asuamaleaui came in. I think Cameron Murray might have been up there, but he wasn't as defined as he is now. Would you disagree with any of that?
No.
Well, there you go. We're done. I feel like this was a lot more difficult towards the end. I think the beginning part, it was pretty easy. We were kind of agreeing on most. But the last couple of ones are the only ones that kind of got us caught up, which was Tino, which was Victor, kind of. Not really. We somewhat agree on that. I think it was just Tino, really, the only one, is there anybody else that I can't think about here?
No, I think we've got it pretty down pat.
What would you think about the list so far? Well, what do you think about the list overall?
Well, I think we can agree that Yeo and Murray are probably the 2 best in the game currently, and there they are, the 2 grand finalists. We mentioned Taumalolo, in my opinion, still at that lower end of elite, but we'll come back to this and see how he goes in the 2022 season. But again, it's probably going to come down to those coaching decisions, not him as a player. A lot of players, as we mentioned, they're in do the job, and we mentioned Brandon Smith probably should have his own category, and I think I'd agree with the players in not that great and the order we've got as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I could even make an argument for Tino being where he is too anyway. That's the thing. In these rankings, everyone's going to make a relative negative point out of putting someone down to quality. It's like, we're still calling them. We've still got Tino here as the 5th best. I can't believe, there's no way I'm listening to you with regards to do the job. But there's no way I was ever letting the do the job happen. But even with that, Tino has been brought down to 5. And even if so, you do want to put him to where you were putting him. That's 3, that's 6, 7. That's the 8th best lock in the game. So a lot of people don't understand that, these, although we've taken them down and whatnot, and we might have a more monotone voice because we're talking about it in a negative fashion, they're still an unbelievable player. And I think that most of these guys, are really good. And I think that not that great pretty much is the most you're going to find of any position you're not that great. And I think that's because this position, if you're not great, you can be really bland. It's a very, very bland position if you are not that great. But yeah, that's going to do us here for today, guys. So thank you very much to Hayden for jumping on.
No worries at all. Thank you very much. It was great to be a part of the channel again.
Yeah, well, you know, we're going to be slapping it down here for the NRL season as per usual. Obviously, we do NBA and, you know, baseball and rugby and everything here on the channel. So, what was that, sorry?
I said, go Lakers, because you said
oh my God.
the NBA
content. Now the NBA fans are going to be like, why are you bringing this Muppet on here? You know, when you got a team like the Chicago Bulls, you know, the top of the crop compared to the Lakers. So stop, man. Get out of here with the Lakers. But, yeah, that's going to do us here today. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. We're posting pretty much every day. Plus, obviously, we stream pretty much all the games. We'll be obviously really focusing on the NRL this year and smacking it down. I'm going to be back in Australia beginning of March, maybe even late February, so we can start doing the vlogs again, which I'm very, very keen for. And yeah,
Eels Titans round 1.
Eels Titans round 1, but I won't be there. I'll be doing a live stream. I'll be doing a stream for that one because that's in Parramatta. You know, if it was at Seabass, maybe different. But we have Titans Warriors in round number 2. But all right, guys, we're going to jump up and now, and we will see you guys next time. Don't forget, we do every single position. So come back it should be Monday and Friday, but these are coming out. All right, guys, appreciate you, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.